Hello, it's Jessica here, and welcome back to another video on MotoGP 18. And this video is going to be a little bit different. It's a video that I've kind of not done before, and I'm going to be doing a how-to video. I'm going to be starting to do how-to videos now on MotoGP. The reason why for that is because I haven't done any on MotoGP 17 yet, and I will be doing some how-to videos on there. But I thought we could do some on MotoGP 18. So the first one is going to be probably one of the simplest ones, and that is about basically the brakes on a MotoGP bike. So basically what we're going to be talking about today is how to brake very easily on a MotoGP bike. And at the moment it's not that easy. And another thing is one thing I didn't mention is the corners. Yeah, I forgot to mention that, because you can only brake into corners, can't you? You can like brake on straights and stuff, but I might do maybe straights in a separate video or something. But I know that the most important thing is the corners. So basically, I'm doing it on the MotoGP class. I will be doing separate videos for every single class. Because another on this MotoGP, they've only got 4 classes, so I'm going to be some of the riders, and I'm going to be doing it on every single class, and I'll show you guys how to brake, basically how the brake normally works. So how to basically brake, how to easy brake into corners on a MotoGP bike. So it is actually quite easy, and it's quite difficult. So I'm probably not going to explain probably too much in the video, but I know that I'm going to be using some of the riders, so there will be a few that I will be showing you, but I'm just going to show you guys how to brake very easily onto gears into a corner. And it's not that difficult. I know that I've done it a lot in the past now, because I played the game for quite a while and I've kind of learned how the brakes and stuff, but it's actually not that difficult, so hopefully you guys do like it. And please let me know in the comments if you've got a lot more how-to videos you want me to do on MotoGP 18. I'm going to try and do more of them as well. Hopefully there will be a lot more ideas for it that I will end up thinking of, so hopefully that'll be very, very good. But hopefully this one has helped. It's my first ever one. And yeah, hopefully it will be pretty good. So we're going to go for a flying start, because there's no point just going from the pit. Yeah, so I'm going to go and show you guys. I'm doing it on time attack as well. I'm not going to bother doing it for Grand Prix, because the reason why I'm not doing it on Grand Prix is we only get 3 laps on Grand Prix. Well, that's if I'm doing like a random video and something, so I don't want to bother doing that. So yeah, I'm going to do it on time attack. So I think most of them will be on time attack, just because Grand Prix you only get like 3 laps on that, and otherwise if we do laps, it's gonna feel a little bit weird. So yeah, I think time attack will be a lot bit better. So yeah, so basically I'm going to show you guys how to brake. So right, here we are then. So here we go. So that's how you brake. So you need to make sure that you're braking a right good gear. So I think the brake, the situation is about like 4th into 3rd gear on every corner, because I know that every corner you don't get a good braking marker. So there you go. So you can kind of see I've broke right now. So you just need to make sure, by the way, that you do brake in a good marker. I'm not going to really explain it exactly because I don't really know about it, but you just need to make sure that you brake in a very, very, very good style. That's kind of what you need to do at the moment on these bikes, because I know that at the moment you can do it on every single MotoGP bike, and I know that every MotoGP bike will sound a little bit more different compared to like all other motorbikes and stuff. But you just need to make sure that you do brake on a very, very good angle. So you can see what I'm doing at the moment. You can see that I'm braking on a very, very good angle with Jorge and Lorenzo. So you can see, by the way, as I brake, you can see I go into 3rd gear. So basically on every corner it will be different gears. It just won't be 3rd gear. It might be like 4th gear, 2nd gear. Don't think it'll be 1st gear. I don't think it'll be that. But I think it'll be like 2nd, 3rd or 4th gear you'll be braking into about to go into a corner. Because basically all the corners on the game will be a little bit more different on different tracks. So you just need to make sure that you basically do it on every corner in the game at the moment. So make sure that you've got some good braking markers, because there's a lot of people out there at the moment that have not got some good braking markers at the moment. And at the moment out there, there's going to be a lot of people out there that are not very good at braking markers, because sometimes they might crash. And I just would have thought it would have been a good idea to do in a video, because there's a lot of people that might not really know how to brake on an easy style. And yeah, I'm not sure if this video is going to help you guys. Maybe there's another person out there that has done it as well, and I haven't done it. So maybe it's that, I don't know, but it's a video that I want to talk about for quite a while, just because it's something different. Yeah, I just really want to talk about all this different kind of thing, because there's a lot of people out there that don't really know about it. I found to break very easily on the MotoGP. So this is only for the MotoGP bikes. I will do a separate one for Moto2 and Moto3, because they are. I know that the Moto2 and Moto3s are a little bit more different. So I will probably explain a little bit more of those. So you can see, by the way, like kind of how I brake into the corner. You can see I do brake quite easily. 4th to 3rd gear. Is kind of the way how I brake. I do sometimes brake on a different angle. Sometimes I do sometimes brake on 2nd gear if it's basically like not a very good angle. But apart from that, I know it's usually into 3rd and 4th gear. I usually brake into that, and then apart from that, it starts getting quite easy after that. So I do brake into a very good marker. And then when I've done that, it's absolutely fine when I've done it through that. So that you can tell how the way I'm doing it. You can see by the way I've gone into 2nd gear through that because I went a little bit slowly. And at the moment though, it's not really that bad to brake, to be honest. Like if you're doing it on a straight as well, it would have probably not been that difficult. And I know, for example, like I'm only doing these on a couple of these bikes. Because I know that like all the bikes that are in this category are kind of the same, because they brake in the same way and stuff like that. Like I know at the moment there's like no point doing them on them all. But that's kind of the way how brakes normally work with different bikes, because I know that all the bikes have different methods on them. So that's kind of the way how all the bikes usually work. And you can probably kind of tell of actually how they work at the moment, because they're all different ones, they're all separate ones and that, and I just would have thought it just would have been a very good idea to be able to see how like the brakes will normally work on different powers, because you just need to make sure that you do it on a good power, because that's what you need to do at the moment. You just need to make sure that you brake in a very good way. So basically just make sure that you go on like 3rd to 4th gear. That's probably going to be the maximum ones. There might maybe be more than that. I don't really know at the moment whether there will be more. There possibly might be more than that. I don't know. Maybe I might be completely wrong. But like I said, I know that at the moment this is only my own video talking about all the own braking markers and kind of see how it works and that. And it's not even that difficult, to be honest with you. So just make sure that you do it on a very good angle, because that's what you need to do at the moment. And just make sure that you do it completely properly. That's what you need to do at the moment, and just make sure that you do it on a very good style, because it will definitely work for other styles. But just make sure that it works on a proper power length one. Like just make sure that you do it at the moment, because it will be a very good idea. So that's for example of the Ducati as well. I will be doing it on all the other bikes as well. So I'll do one for Honda, Yamaha. Not on all of the categories, but I will be doing most of the bikes. So I think I'll do it on the Yamaha next. So I think I'll be Valentino Rossi for that. And then I think I'm going to do one for Honda. Not sure who I'm going to be between those. I might be maybe Joe's or something. So I'm going to do the example with Rossi now. So Rossi on the Yamaha. Rossi's braking is a little bit different. So I will kind of like explain. So we are going to do different tracks as well. So let's go and do Mugello. Let's go and do Rossi's home circuit for this one, because I know that the braking on this one is absolutely amazing on this one. So I'll kind of let you know on that one. Yeah, the braking's quite good on this one, so I'll kind of just let you know as well. And for example, if it's in different weather conditions as well, just make sure that you do it completely right on different weather as well. So if it's on the rain condition, like you can actually still brake on a good marker on in the wet, but basically in the wet condition it's a little bit more different to brake. So yeah, you basically need to keep a void on that, because otherwise it might not be very good on that. So I might do a separate video for that. I think I'll do a separate one for the wet. It doesn't actually really matter about the other weather conditions. It's actually only the wet that you need to brake a little bit easier. It's just in the wet basically. So it's in the yeah. So it's like rain and heavy rain and stuff. So I'll do like both of them, and I'll kind of just let you know, because I know that you do get the light brake, the light rain. and you do get the heavy rains. So I'll do like a separate video for both of those, to kind of just let you all know of kind of the way how, basically how they normally work. So I'll kind of do a separate one for that one, because I know we don't need to do any of the other wet conditions, because you can brake quite easily on the other ones. It's just on like all the wet conditions you can't do it on. So on the wet, what's the other one? The heavy rain, isn't it? And I think also on wet track as well. I don't think we really need to worry about wet track, because on wet track it's quite easy on that. So I'm not going to really worry about that, because I know that the braking's not too bad on that either. But the ones we're going to be focusing on is just all the wet ones. So that's going to be the ones we're going to focus on at the moment, as well. So yeah, here we are then. So now we're using Rossi on the Yamaha. So I'll kind of show you the good braking marker. So in here we go into 4th to 3rd gear through that corner. That's kind of the way how they do it on that corner. It's actually quite easy. In this corner we do up to 3rd and 2nd gear on that corner. So make sure that you do brake through that. Because otherwise, if you don't, by the way, the braking markers is not going to be good. So make sure that you do have a good braking through there, because it'll be completely easy, in my opinion. It might be quite difficult if you don't brake in a very good style, but yeah, just to make sure that you do brake constantly well, because that's what you need to do at the moment, and just make sure that you do make your braking markers. Oh, sorry about this, guys. Got an itch. There we go, sorted. Yeah, what we're saying is, yeah, basically, just make sure that you do brake on a good marker. That's what you need to do at the moment. So make sure that you're on a good braking marker. Make sure you've got like a whole lot of space around you. Yeah, just make sure you've got a load of space. That's what you need to do at the moment, and just make sure that you've got the space that you need to be able to have good brakes on there. That's what you need to do at the moment. So make sure that you've got some very good brakes on there, and make sure that you've got some very good braking markers at the moment to try and like basically brake in a very good style, because that's what you need to do at the moment on the brakes. And at the moment, I know going through brakes is not that easy, because I know you only go through like 2nd and 3rd gear. I know going through the 1st gear is going to be quite difficult, because at the moment you do kind of like do run out of slow like time through 1st gear. So for example, if you're on a big bike and you only get like the 1st gear problem, it doesn't actually really matter, to be honest with you anyway. So just make sure that you do it on a very good angle, because that's what you need to do at the moment. So yeah, when you've done that, by the way, just make sure that you've done it on a good angle, and just make sure that you can brake on a very good style. Like that's what you need to do at the moment. So when you've actually done that, just make sure that you've done it on a great angle. And then when you've done that, you've done it completely perfectly after that, and just make sure that you get it on a very good speed length, to be able to see what the braking markers are going to be on it. And another thing is, by the way, though, is I know that you might be a bit scared about this, but just make sure that you don't end up losing it. That's what you need to do at the moment. So make sure that you lose on a pretty good time, to be able to see what you're doing on it and stuff, and just make sure that you do it on a pretty good time to be able to see what you're doing in that. And yeah, just see what you're doing, because that's what you need to do at the moment. Like, brake on a good marker is not that easy on MotoGP anyway. But like, make sure that you do it on a very good style, because that's what you need to do. Of course, I've been doing that. A lot in career mode. I've been getting some brakes a lot in career. I've been doing a lot of things on that. So just make sure that you have a very good braking marker, to be able to see what you're doing on the brakes, because that's what you need to do at the moment on the brakes. And just make sure that you're doing it in a very good style, so the brakes are not that easy, to be able to like brake in the corners that you want to brake in, as well. And the other thing is, by the way, though, is basically just take it nice and steady. Like that's what I've been doing at the moment. So basically, that's the thing that you need to do. So take it nice and steady at the moment, going through corners, and then when you brake, just brake in an easy, good style. And then just basically just make sure that you brake on a very good angle. Make sure that you're in the right gears to be able to brake successfully. And then when you've braked successfully, you're pretty much done and dusted, basically. And then when you've done that, you're all done, and then your brake is absolutely perfect. So just to make sure that you do it on a good marker, because otherwise it's not going to work. And yeah, it won't work going into them, by the way. So just make sure that you're on the right braking marker for every bike. It will, of course, work for every bike in the game, all the bikes that you be on, by the way, it'll all work on every bike. But just make sure that you do it on everyone, because it won't end up working otherwise, and it might be quite bad at the moment to see what you're doing. But at the moment, though, like, I pretty much got my hope at the moment to try and get some good brakes, and that's what I've been doing ever since, basically. Like, I've always been on very, very good brakes, and I've always kind of just stayed on that. Like, I've not really like changed the brakes or anything. Like, I've always been on them brakes, and they've always been pretty handy at the moment. And like, I've always basically loved really enjoying them. Basically, they've always been very, very nice, and I've always loved really enjoying using the brakes that I need to use, basically, because they are quite easy to use, and I love really enjoying them. And at the moment, like, doing them on the MotoGP class is like one of the difficult ones, because I know that like the MotoGP class is like the proper class in the game at the moment, and just make sure that you've got some very, very good time. That's what you need to do at the moment. And then when you've got the braking markers completely well, you've pretty much done it, to be honest. You've pretty much opened up a lot of a free power world to be able to see what bike you're going to use, and then when you've done that, you're absolutely sorted, basically. So just make sure that you go through the powers pretty easily. That's what you need to do at the moment. So just make sure that you go through quite good with the brake strategy. Like, that's what you need to do at the moment. So make sure that you do go on the brakes quite nicely as well. And just see how many laps you can do, and then when you brake on it, it's quite easy. Just don't brake too hard, because one thing I've noticed about braking really, really hard is because when you brake, you will crash. When you've landed on the brakes, you'll just crash straight away, and you'll just end up losing a lot of time. So just trying to avoid that, by the way. It will happen on every corner. So on every corner, when I brake, it will be absolutely easy. You can see kind of the way how I brake into corners. You can see it's quite easy to be able to get a good braking marker. Like, at the moment, I know it might be not that difficult to be able to brake on a similarity. Like, at the moment, I might be working on hard on that, but it's absolutely quite easy anyway. So make sure that you do it in a very, very good style. With all the MotoGP bikes, basically, I know that you can like pick any class in the game. You can like pick any ones and that. But just make sure that you do it on every class, because it'll be a very, very good idea. And it'll work on every single bike in the MotoGP class, but just make sure that you do it on a very, very good braking marker, because at the moment, if you don't, you're just going to end up crashing, and it's not going to be good for you guys. And just make sure that you do it in a good style. Like, that's what you need to do at the moment, and if you do end up doing that, it will be absolutely fine, because that's what you need to really, really focus on at the moment, to be able to get like a very, very good power on at the moment, to be able to see actually how it works. So, but yeah, it's actually not that easy, to be honest. I thought it would have been not that easy, to be honest, to brake on a good braking marker, but at the moment, though, it's actually not that. It's not that difficult. So just to make sure that you do it on a very, very good style. That's what you need to do at the moment. That's going to be fun. So what we're going to do now, by the way, is I'm going to go and do an overcast race. So I know that on overcast you can brake on the same way because it's dry. So I know that on an overcast condition you can brake on the same place. But I know that when you do the rain, that's the interesting one, because basically I know that you brake a little bit more slower on the wet. So I know that like on the wet condition you can slow a little bit further down on that one. So just make sure that you brake on a good marker on that one, because that's what you need to do at the moment. And basically just trying to avoid that. Like, that's what you need to do at the moment, and trying to avoid it and stuff. And then when you've done that, it'll be absolutely very, very easily. So just trying to avoid that from now on, guys. And at the moment, though, just try and do your best at it. And if you do end up getting stuck on brake situations, I know that I'm not really the guy that really helps at the moment on these brake situations, but it's actually quite easy to be able to get some very, very good brakes out there. Like, at the moment, like, the brakes are not that great at the moment. And I know that at the moment they are quite difficult to be able to like get a good braking marker in there. But at the moment, though, it's actually quite difficult, because you just need to make sure that you do have a very, very good power on a bike to be able to see at the moment. So I'm in the overcast condition, but in the overcast condition you can do the same braking markers because it's all dry. So when I'm going into like these brakes, you can see kind of the way how it works with the Droza. You can see by the way that like how I'm going into brakes, it's quite easy. Like, I still go into third and fourth gear through overcast condition. And at the moment though, like, it's actually quite easy to be able to do it from there. Like, at the moment it's actually not that easy to be able to, like, get a good braking marker out there. But just make sure, by the way, that you do it pretty nicely, because I know that at the moment though, like, this is not like a proper tutorial video at the moment, and that's actually kind of like the way how MotoGP 18 usually works on the brakes, because make sure that you do go on the brakes quite nicely when you're pressing the LT button, or for example, if you're on PC, I don't know what it is on PC, I have no idea, but if you're on this or PS4, just to make sure that you do get a brake completely easy. And then on PC, I know it's the difficult one, but I'm not going to talk about PC because I don't play PC MotoGP 18, so it doesn't actually really matter on there. But yeah, if you're on this or on PS4, the braking's actually quite easy. I know that on PS4, I think it's like LT on that, I think. So yeah, so make sure that you do it on both of them, because that'll be pretty handy. And I know that doing it on the brakes is absolutely easy peasy like a lemon. And you can see, by the way, kind of the way how I brake through the corners, kind of I do go like a little bit slowly through some of the corners, but I know that that's not pretty much most of the corners, but I do go slowly through most of the corners. You can probably kind of see how it works, so I like braking to that marker a little bit. Like, I know that there's kind of a lot of people that usually brake a little bit later than me at the moment. That's if, for example, if it's online, if I'm doing any online videos, like basically there's a lot of people that usually brake a little bit, basically just a little bit later than I usually do, but I basically like brake on the right time, and that's what I've been doing at the moment. I've been doing that on everyone at the moment, and I've been getting some very good braking markers, and I've always broke on at the right time, and it's not been that difficult, to be honest with you, though, at the moment. It might be quite hard, but at the moment though, like, it's not that difficult. So I know that I might be focusing on other ways at the moment and saying it's difficult, but at the moment though, it's not difficult. And basically just try and make sure that you've got a good braking marker out there, because it might not end up working, basically. So if you do have a good braking out there, just make sure that you do it completely in a good right spot, and then basically it will actually work in a good style that you want it to be. So that's kind of the way of actually how it will work. About braking works and stuff. Like, it might be quite difficult to be able to see what braking works, but it's actually quite easy. Like I said, it will work on every single MotoGP bike, because I know that they're the same brand, but I know that they're just different, but they will still have the same braking markers when I do brake into them. Like, it will still have the same. Maybe some of them will struggle or something, but that won't end up happening, because I know that some of them will actually be quite easy, and I know that at the moment I might be stressing out on that, but at the moment it's going to be quite easy to be able to get like a good braking marker on every single MotoGP bike, because that's kind of the way that's been work. And if you do go in gravel, by the way, it will really slow you down on brake situations, so never do that when you're on the brakes, and never go into gravel, because it will just end up slowing you down completely, and it will not work. Or for example, when you go really wide, it will do the same thing with that as well. So yeah, two different things. Make sure you don't go wide, make sure you don't go in the gravel. Otherwise, otherwise when you do your next braking marker, it will not feel that great. So just make sure that you do end up avoiding that. Just make sure that you avoid all the corners as well. And to be honest with you, make sure you go and do that, because that'll be the easiest thing. Yeah, just make sure that you do it completely easy, because like at the moment that's what you need to do at the moment. So just try and make sure that you have it on a good braking marker and stuff like that, and just make sure that you're doing it right, because that is all what we want for the community, to be able to see how the brakes normally work on MotoGP. Just make sure that you do it in a very good marker, and that's what you need to do at the moment. Make sure that you do it like that. Yeah, if you do have any questions about it, please let me know in the comments if you do. I know at the moment I'm not going to go through it all, because otherwise I am going to be here for way too long. So I just wanted to let you guys just all know of actually how it works, if you guys don't know. And I just really wanted to do just a video just talking about it, kind of with the way of actually how it works. But it's actually quite easy. Like I said, I know that I might be dragging on for too long about it, but yeah, it's a thing that I just wanted to talk about for a while, to kind of like learn how they work and stuff like that. And to be honest with you, I might be feeling quite bad about it at the moment, and I know it's actually not that easy at the moment to break on a good marker. So just make sure that you do it on a very good style. That's what you need to do at the moment. And then of course when you've done it on a good style, just make sure that it works basically, and then when you've done that, you're all sorted, and then you're all completely done. So yeah, that's kind of the way how braking normally works. Like I said, I know it's not that easy, to be honest, kind of the way how it works, but I know that there's kind of a lot of braking markers out there that will work on different kind of bikes, that won't end up working on other things. But that's kind of the way of actually how it will work on MotoGP 18 when you do a good braking marker. So just basically just make sure that your brakes are on completely good. Make sure you have a good braking marker, and then when you've done that, you'll be absolutely fine then. So just make sure that you've got a one that you need basically, because it will be very, very handy to see what brake you're going to have, by the way. And just make sure that you've got a very, very good one, because that's what you need to focus on at the moment. And then when you've done that, by the way, make sure you do focus on the one that you want, by the way. Like at the moment, that'll be cool at the moment. I know it might not be that interesting, but at the moment, just make sure that you do it on a good track. Like basically at the moment, I know that all the tracks on this game are not too bad, but at the moment there is actually a lot of braking markers that they didn't even complete. I know that they did actually fix that bug on Boulogne now, which is quite good, where players won't be able to brake in that corner anymore. So that's pretty good. That's been actually one of the biggest updates. So that won't end up happening anymore, which is good. And of course, they have also done a few more bug updates as well. They have done a few more as well. I don't know how many there is altogether. I can't exactly remember how many there is. I don't know, but I know that there's kind of a few of them that there is as well. So I know that I'm not going to go through them all, because otherwise I'm going to be here for too long, and yeah, otherwise it's just going to be too boring for you. Yeah, it's just going to get really boring for you guys, and yeah, that's what I kind of wanted to explain about, kind of like the brakes, how they work, and I just wanted to let you guys just all know about it. But like I said, the brakes are quite like the most popular thing in the game anyway, because you just need to make sure that you do have a very, very good like lap time experience to be able to see what you're doing at the moment. So, and then when you've done that, by the way, just make sure that you brake on a very, very good braking marker, and then when you've done that, just make sure that you've done it completely right. And then when you've done that, you basically just all sorted on brakes after that, and then you're completely all sorted after that. Just make sure that you do brake on a good angle, like that'll be the most important thing. And then basically just make sure that you do it completely right, so you don't have any mess ups like what I've kind of done right now. I know that valid laps are going to be interesting, and I know that at the moment it'll be no point just getting valid laps, because you won't be able to complete a lap with one. Of course, if you do go on the grass again, you do get a second valid lap, and it will validate the lap that's next, by the way. And that's kind of like the most annoying thing that I don't like. But at the moment, though, about the brake situation, it's not that bad at the moment. I know that I got to say that the brakes and the tackling is probably going to be a bit better compared to all the other ones, for example, like all the other things. So just make sure that you do keep an eye on that, because that'll be like the most important thing. And then yeah, when you've done that, just make sure that you've done it completely right. You've done it in a pretty good style, and yeah, make sure that you do brake on a good angle. Like that's what you need to do at the moment. Just try and brake on a good one, and yeah, just try and brake on the angle that you want to brake on. And to be honest with you, like, it might not be that easy anyway. Like it might not be that easy to be able to like get a good braking marker, but at the moment, just make sure that you're good on a brake, good on a braking marker, and then basically when you've done that, just make sure that you do it completely right, so you don't waste any time on it and stuff like that. And then yeah, just make sure that you do get a very, very good brain to be able to like get a whole load of community at the moment. Like that's what you need to do at the moment. And at the moment, like when you've done that, it'll be absolutely fine. Well, that's what you need to complete at the moment. And yeah, it will basically work on every single bike in the game. So every bike that you test on, it will work on all of them. So I think I'm going to go and do one more bike. And then maybe in the future I might go and maybe do this again. But I'm going to go and do the other bikes. So I probably will end up doing that. That probably might be quite cool. So I might end up maybe being at some of the other riders as well. Of course, from like all different other categories as well, I might end up probably doing that, but I don't really know whether I'll be doing that yet. I don't know. It's probably going to be something that I probably will think about. Like, I have no idea whether I'm going to be doing that yet, but yeah, hopefully it will be quite cool, by the way, because that's what I definitely want it to be. So if it is going to stay like that, that'll be absolutely fine. Like, I don't really know at the moment whether it will be like that. I don't really know. Maybe it will be. Yeah, that's kind of the way how braking markers work, guys. If you guys don't know, basically it will work on every bike, and yeah, just make sure that you've got a good one, basically, and yeah, just make sure that you've got a good braking marker. That's what you need to do at the moment. Just make sure you've got a nice one, and then yeah, when you've done that, just make sure that you do it completely right. That's what you need to do at the moment, and then when you've got a good braking marker, just make sure that you do it. And then when you've got a good one, you're absolutely fine to go after that. And another, like, braking on a good marker is absolutely fine anyway. But at the moment though, like, it's like very difficult to brake on a mark that you don't want to be on. And that's like the other most trickiest thing at the moment. So that's like the thing that you need to avoid at the moment, is to brake on a very good marker. Like, that's what you need to do at the moment. So when you do eventually like brake on a decent one, you just need to make sure that you do it in a good style to be able to like get a brake that you want to get. So just make sure that you do that. Don't go too wide, otherwise you will end up losing the braking marker that you want to be. And just basically just try and do as what you can. Just try and see how it works, and yeah, it will be quite easy at the moment. It might be a little bit difficult, but I think it will be quite easy. I don't know how difficult it's going to end up being. I don't really know, in my opinion, at the moment, how difficult it will be. But like I said, doing it on a good braking marker is absolutely great. And just make sure that you do it completely right at the moment, so you don't get like anything else happening on it. So just make sure that you've got a very nice one. And then yeah, when you've done that, you're on a good braking marker. You're done. And then yeah, you're pretty much done, all done, dusted, and then you're pretty much all completely fine after that, because you know what you're doing on it, and yeah, at least you know what you're doing on it, and you're getting some very good lap times out there to be able to see what brakes you're doing, and it's not really that easy, but it's absolutely fine. So I think that's going to be it, guys, since this video has been on for quite a while. So that's kind of the way how the brakes work on MotoGP. I will do a separate video for Moto2 and Moto3 as well. It'll be like exactly the same, but it'll just be a little bit different. So that is how to brake into corners on a MotoGP bike. So I've done it on only 5 bikes, but I might do maybe one in the future where I do all the other ones, but I'll just go and let you know, so that I didn't want to do them all. But hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video. If you are, please give me a thumbs up, please give us a subscribe to the channel if you're new. Please let me know in the comments if it's helped you guys on the brake situations. That'd be quite helpful. But that's going to let you know. But yeah, I'll see you later. Bye!